Hi guys, and hello from the hilltop. I'm the Plateau Perfectionist, and I welcome you to my channel. Today's video is my December 2020 plan with me in my Teku core. This will be my last plan with me in this particular journal. While I do have some extra pages at the end, I really just wanted to start the new 2021 fresh. So this particular plan with me will be my last one for my Teku core. And I will be doing a video to kind of show off the what I did manage to do in this bullet journal. But for right now, let's get on with December. So for my theme for December is Christmas sweets. I found some really adorable stickers being put out by the Mr. Paper company. I will link them below, as well as some scrapbook papers that both of items which I got off of AliExpress. I thought they worked real well together, and I wanted to kind of that's one of my favorite things about Christmas and the holiday season of November and December is doing lots of baking and just making memories, even if I'm not necessarily spending a bunch of money. My mom is also a big fan of baking and cooking and things of that nature when she gets into those kinds of moods. So some of my favorite memories growing up is baking and cooking with her for the holiday seasons, and leave it to a big girl to enjoy sweet things. So I also wanted to I did want to incorporate the Christmas colors, the red and green. However, I didn't want to go with very vibrant colors since my stickers and my paper were more on the muted palette tone. So I went with a kind of a muted, softer color to the reds and greens. I used a red Mildliner for the red colors. I used a kind of sagey green Crayola Super Tip for the green. And then any additional colors that I used were more for accents. They also stayed more on the muted palette. I did, however, want to add just a little bit of accent with a white jelly roll to make it look kind of more Christmassy and candy cane-ish. And since I personally am a fan of different flavored candy canes as well as just regular candy canes, that's why I went with the red and the green on the stripes. So as you can see, I did have a lot of negative space on this particular cover page. So I went ahead and, very similar to my kind of light strings for November, I also included a string of lights that kind of wraps around in the negative space here. And then the big circle piece here is supposed to be a plate of sweet treats, because like I said, that's kind of the first thing that I really thought of was, all of these great looking cookies and sweets. They would look really cute on a plate, so I drew a plate along with having a cup of hot cocoa. And then of course this particular quote page here, this was all inspired by something that I tell myself all the time. Being on keto, especially during the holiday season, it can really mess with your head. You want all these sweet goody things that people make, especially if they're given to you. And a lot of the things I cannot necessarily eat because they are not good for me on my particular lifestyle diet. So this is just something I tell myself, especially during the holiday season, of don't sweat the sweet stuff. And then of course, so like I said, I kept the palette colors very neutral. I also added a little bit of gray to the lines of the wires, just to kind of, add a little bit to it. And then I also had purchased some Christmas washi, and then also a strip of presents washi, which I will use throughout all of the spreads. Add a little bit of a drop shadow in various places, and this spread is particularly good. On a side note, I will say I almost didn't have the paper and washi tape in time. I had the stickers. I had actually bought these months ago. However, I had ordered the washi and the scrapbook paper like in October. But if you've ever purchased things from AliExpress, they can take a while to come in. And I always keep I'm like uber, I watch my tracking like a hawk. Let's just put it that way. And it had said it had been delivered, but my items had not arrived, so I was actually worried that maybe they had been lost in the void that is, the United States Postal Service, especially when it is coming from an international location. So I actually didn't think I was going to have these items in time, so I actually ended up designing whole different spreads, and then my items showed up, and they came in like a group package. And so all of my items that I was going to be using arrived in time, and so huzzah! I rejoiced, and then I completely redid all of my spreads, so that way I could include both the scrapbook paper as well as the washi tape. So I went with a 2-page spread here, just because of the way the days fell. My monthly calendar is set up Sunday, Saturday, whereas my weeks are still set up Monday through Sunday, just because I like the way that flows a little better. And then, again, my weekly spreads will be starting with the first day of December, which is technically falls on a Tuesday, but whatever. I also wanted to kind of keep with the Christmas theme, so you'll see my circles here for my numbers on my calendar are alternating in red and green. And then the same thing with the weekly header, the Sunday through Saturday are red and green. So something that I really enjoyed was actually the scrapbook paper. That was one of the things I was looking forward to the most, and I was really upset when it was taking so long to arrive. So the scrapbook paper are just these little, I think maybe like 6x6 pages. They're not full-size scrapbook papers like you would find at, say, Hobby Lobby or Joann's. They're very small, they're just single-sided, so they're not the cardstock thickness, which is what I used in my July spreads. But I absolutely adored the colors and I adored the patterns. They were very woodsy and, like I said, in a more neutral palette, although still going with the Christmas vibe. And they had this one particular page that was this brown neutral color in the background that wasn't necessarily covered in gingerbread men, which, hey, it's Christmas. I enjoy a good gingerbread man, drawing and whatnots. Not particular fan of the cookies, but I do enjoy the look of a gingerbread, especially a gingerbread house. I think those are really cool, and I applaud the people who draw those. But they had this page here, was this great neutral brown color, but it still had kind of almost a cabiny vibe with plenty of sweets. So that is, I just wanted to I used that whole page, man. I think I only ended up with maybe like a 2x3 square of this, 6x6 page that didn't get used just for this spread. And then I just added a sticker of a figgy pudding. If you don't know what a figgy pudding looks like, that's what that looks like. And then some washi tape at the bottom. And this spread is done. Very simple, not too much doodle-wise, but I think it's a great and cohesive look. So, some spreads that I did in addition to the title and the calendar page is I did this 25 Doodles of Christmas. This is inspired by one of the Amanda Rach Lee Christmas videos that she did just to kind of inspire people for Christmas specific spreads. And I really, really enjoyed the inky Arttober that I did. However, that was a bit time consuming, mostly because I did a lot of filming. I will not be doing extra films for my 25 Doodles of Christmas. However, I will be posting images of them on my Instagram page. So if you follow me on Instagram, which is the Plateau Perfectionist with underscores in between each word, you can see my daily doodle once December 1st starts rolling around. So in the meantime, I made a bunch of boxes. They were kind of inspired by an old piece of Christmas decor that my mother had made years and years and years ago out of building blocks, the alphabet wooden blocks that, everybody and their brother had, or at least I had when I was a child. That's what they're inspired by. So I just used my square stencil here. I originally went around all of them in the black. That's not a Kuretake. What is that? Is it a Tombow? I forget what that is. It's a pen. Let's put it that way. It's a pen. I was giving my poor Sharpie pen a break. It's having some scratching issues. I need to replace it with a different one. So I used a different pen for this. And then I went through with 2 different colored browns. One is the brown that is kind of a secondary color for my lights on my title page, and then I had a darker brown just to kind of give them a bit of a difference in tone. And no, I did not want the boxes to be exact, spot on spot. I think it adds character to have them look like this. It kind of looks like the borders on on the actual wooden blocks that I played with as a kid. So I will be doing 25 doodles. I don't have like a prompt system or anything that I will be doing for my doodles. I'm just going to, whatever I feel like drawing, I'm going to draw for that day. And if you do a count, there are some extra boxes, which, they're kind of in the middle of the seam of the 2 pages. I just did that so there wasn't just this big buku of negative space. And if I want to kind of add something to it, I can take some scrapbook paper and fill that box, or I can add an additional doodle, if I'm kind of stuck on which doodle I want to do for the day. I'm just kind of loosey-goosey. It's just to kind of give me inspiration to keep coming back to the spread, to keep drawing, and just have a bit of fun. I also added a bunch of extra stickers in the negative space, because I really did. I really enjoyed these stickers, and I loved all the little sweet treats and candies, as well as a little bit of washi tape. I didn't realize it when I bought the washi tape, but this particular Christmas washi tape had some Santas on it, so I had to put them on this particular spread. And then, in case anybody cares, the hanging ornament looking things for the 25 Doodles of Christmas letterings, that was inspired by one of the ladies who runs a Facebook page called Stationary Monsters. Her name is Dailara. I think I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I will also add a link to her group on Facebook, in case you were wondering. She comes up with some great ideas for like wreaths and lettering styles. So, and this was one that she really inspired me. So I wanted to give her a shout out for that particular look as well. So here's just a quick little overview of this 25 Doodles spread, and then I believe the next one is my budgeting spread. So for those of you who have not been watching my videos or have potentially forgotten, I will be going out of town for Christmas. Yes, I am one of those crazy people who dare to travel during a pandemic. However, I have been planning this particular traveling event for about 2 years now. And it's one of those I have saved up. I have pinched my pennies something fierce this year. And I'm going to go see family. I'm not going anywhere overly extenuous. I'm just going to kind of chill at my sister's house and stuff myself like a turkey. Anyway, but since I will be traveling, I did decide to do a 2-page budget tracker instead of my normal 1-page. To be fair, I have noticed in the past couple months, and this is probably a slap on my wrist for overspending, but my 1-page budget spread has not been working out very well for me. I really do need a 2-page, and then an additional page for the Excel spreadsheet, which I did not do for Christmas. I decided to skip that particular page for these. But since I will be traveling, since I will have extra expenses this particular month, I went for a 2-page spread. I also wanted to add just a little bit of doodles and have another saucer with a couple cookies and another hot cocoa, just to kind of add a little bit of whimsy to an otherwise very basic spread. And then I did include just a little bit of color with the green stripes. And then, of course, added my title bits here. In case anybody cares, when it comes to my budgeting, I do a rolling system. That's what I'm going to call it, is a rolling system. Basically, I have a column for dates. I have a column for a description of whatever the item is, such as gas, paycheck, etc. I have a column for amount, and then I have various columns depending on which account the amount is being pulled out of or added to. So it's a rolling total system for each of my accounts, and then if it doesn't affiliate with a specific account, I usually just put a little dash so I know that it has nothing to do with that, since I have multiple accounts. And since I am also going to be pulling some money from a specific savings account, which I have been using as my trip money, that is why I have a couple of extra columns here that I don't usually incorporate. In the meantime, I added just a little bit of blue onto the budget just to kind of add a little bit of a secondary color, and to be fair, this spread is relatively done. If you would like any more additional information about how I do my budget tracking system, by all means leave me a comment below and I will see if I can get a video put together. In the meantime, we're going to go on to the next spread. And in addition to the 25 Doodles of Christmas, a couple of Christmassy vibe spreads that I wanted to include, since I had the extra pages here at the end of my Techacore, was a 25 Songs of Christmas and a Christmas bucket list. So I really always have had a bit of a knack, I guess, for drawing scroll type rolled paper. I don't know why. I've always been either very good at it or they come out absolutely terrible. It's a hit or miss for me. But anyway, I thought, very nice naughty list of Santas. I did the scroll looking page. I added a bunch of stickers that I had kind of pre-cut so I knew what shape they needed to be to go, flow along the edge of the scroll. And then I made up this particular font all by myself. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's something I made off the top of my head. And then, of course, my 12 Songs of Christmas. Everybody has those favorite songs that they love to listen to during the holiday season, regardless of religion. One of my personal favorites is the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song. I don't know why. Some people think it's nails on a chalkboard. It's one of my personal favorites. And then, the Christmas Can, things of that nature. And so this was just kind of one where I've never actually made a list of my favorite Christmas songs. It's true, some of them will probably be very traditional and very, quote unquote Christian. But I digress. That is my personal religion, and so let's just go with it. Also, if you ever have an opportunity, speaking of Christmas songs, there is one song, yes, it is Christian based, but it is one of my personal favorites. It's called Children Go Where I Send Thee. And it's almost kind of like a countdown song. I sang it when I was in choir years and years and years and years ago. But it was one of my personal favorite songs to sing of all time. It was something that we did for our Christmas concert. And so if you ever have an opportunity, by all means, take a second, look it up. If you like it, great. If you don't hate me. But it's just one of those moments where I'm going to take an opportunity to spread a little Christmas cheer and maybe take you outside the box just a little bit. In the meantime, I just kind of went over this with my black pen to add a little more dimension to my title here, the 12 Songs of Christmas. And then I just kind of wrote out my numbers. They didn't quite fit towards the bottom. I may have to tweak my wording just a little bit to get all of my 12 songs on here, but that's okay. It's my spread. And then I added a little bit of coloring to give the scroll a little bit more depth, but otherwise I think a little bit of washi tape and I was done. Yeah. Kept it simple. It's a simple little spread, and if you end up making one, by all means, shoot me a message on Instagram or on my Facebook page, The Plateau Perfectionist, and show me what your spread looks like. I would love to see what your 12 songs of Christmas are. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and move on a little bit to my Christmas bucket list. Again, this particular list was inspired by Amanda Rach Lee. She usually does a winter or a Christmas bucket list, depending on whatever she's going for. I opted to do for a Christmas bucket list because some of these items I actually cannot physically do where I live. So for example, see the lights. I live in the middle of nowhere. I am in a very rural area, so going to see Christmas lights requires a lot of traveling. However, when I am down south seeing family, there are a couple of sweet spots I know of that they usually go bonkers with the Christmas lights. You can drive through the areas. You don't have to get out of your vehicle in order to stay COVID safe. And so it is something that I am going to try to do while I am down south. In the meantime, you might not like this, but I have already decorated, at least in our house, for the holidays. So by the time this video comes up, I will have already done at least a couple of these things. And like decorate the tree, and we hung some ornaments. I have a little 1 foot, 2 foot tree in my room that I did with my personal ornaments that I have accumulated over the course of my lifetime. And then I helped my mother decorate with some things that I pulled out of the attic. And in the meantime, I helped her go through some of our Christmas stuff that had not come out of the attic since it got put up there 10 years ago. And hopefully will be rehomed in the near future. So, something else that is a family tradition of ours for Christmas is actually a newer Christmas tradition, and it's not on my bucket list, but per se, I guess you could count it as bake with the family, is we do bizcochitos. So I live in New Mexico, and it is in New Mexico Christmas time. They do a lot of bizcochitos. It's a type of cookie. It's made with anise, or no, I think it's anise. A-N-I-S-E. They're the little star-shaped things that you can see. They're like that. People like to use them with orange and whatnot. But that's one of the things that we do here as a family. Is my mom likes to bake, and she decided instead of doing her more traditional applesauce cake, which is what we do in lieu of a fruit cake, we went ahead and made bizcochitos. Speaking of bizcochitos and cookies, remember, stressed is desserts spelled backwards. I found that quote when I was looking for something to fill this page, and I fell in love with it because it's accurate as well as funny. And again, I just used one of my scrapbook pages, and then I drew out all the words. That's all hand done with my hard tip and soft tip. They're put out by Tombow. I know they're put out by Tombow. They've got a name. I will link them in the description below. But I can't remember them off the top of my head. But pins, yes, pins. And then I use my white jelly roll for additional shininess to it. So I decided to do my weekly spreads very similar to how I did them in my May spreads. In short, I made Dutch doors so that way I could have my weeks, so for example, the first week of December only has 6 days since it starts on Tuesday. If you go Tuesday to Sunday, that's 6 days. So I went ahead and mathed it all out. I left this little room for a Dutch door. Again, I totally lucked out that it was the exact same number of pages and I could rip those whole suckers out and not have the little tabby-doo. And then I added a bunch of my sweet stickers on one side of the page, and then I went over and added them on the last page of December, so it kind of flows and I get to look at those sweet treats all month long. In addition, I also had just enough stickers left to put one sweet treat for every day. And then I did color coordinate the weeks. So for example, the brown lines are only for week 1. The next week, I believe, was blue, and then I continued on, so each week is slightly different. The only thing that I did differently on the Dutch doors for December and that I did differently in May was the May ones had those extra tabs that where I had put the calendar, the calendar of May, and then I highlighted whatever week it was. I thought about doing that for this particular one. Who knows? I may go in and just edit just a little bit and add tabby-doos. But to be honest, I probably won't because I'm a lazy person. I just kept the font very simple. I just, the day of the week, the number of the week with a sticker, And then, of course, I had my weekly habit and weight tracker for each day. I did accidentally do an oops on the math of my boxes because I always have to do something wrong. And I ended up with 8 days for habits instead of my usual 5 or 6. That's okay. If I need to add an extra habit, I have room to do so. If not, I may just leave it blank. So, yeah, that's pretty much the entirety of my December. Is just, I'm finishing up my little boxes here, and then we'll do a quick flip through, and you'll get to see all of my stickery, sweet treat, festive holiday glory. So here we go. We're going to just do a little zoom in here, and then we're going to do the flip through, and just, I hope you feel inspired. That's one reason why I love to do this so much, is just to have some fun with it, and to use things that I have lying around. Like I said, I had all of these stickers, and I had this scrapbook paper that was, just a couple of dollars, the washi tape, and other than just a little bit of doodling, I had fun. So here is my planner. It is not filled out. I will do that at a later date. And then on to my 25 Doodles of Christmas. Please find me on Instagram. I would love for y'all to do this doodle challenge with me. My budget tracker here, blank now, but will be full soon. Then my 12 Songs of Christmas, my Christmas bucket list, and then my weekly spreads. I hope you'll have a wonderful holidays, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye! Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for watching my video today. I would love a like, a subscribe. By all means, leave me a comment. And also you can find me on these other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and then my website at theplatowperfectionist.com.